Starting live. All right, let's see here. That's set up.
Why do American soldiers say they would...
That's not the right one. But there we go. Test. All right. Test. All right. Test. All right. Oh shit! That's what's going on. I just created an endless loop. I'm sorry. Okay. So up here. Okay. Can I brighten customization? Maybe? Nope. All right. No, that's just because my lighting sucks. Wee. Awesome. Unfortunately, I can't.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Good morning. Or, yeah,
Good.
morning. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Good.
Doing pretty well.
All right. So you said you wanted to focus on your Kodiak series?
Yes.
All right. So the way this typically is done, it's going to throw me off a little bit just because it's focusing on a series rather than the specific book. Is usually I go ahead and have the author either record or send in the first chapter of a book to go ahead and for me to record, put in there so listeners can actually get a sample chapter, kind of understand what's going on. But considering it's a series rather than just a single book, if you would like to, and if you're okay with sending in just really whatever sample chapter you want, kind of a here's the best foot forward type of thing, then I will go ahead and get that either recorded, or if you record it, I'll get it put in. And so they'll be able to hear that before the episode. So
what we could do then.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I do have something to hand.
Okay.
Which is the first chapter of a different book. So, unless if we did, we could potentially switch to something else. But I do the Kodiak stuff. I'm going to see if I can find. I'm going to see if I can find a chapter somewhere. Do you want to record that before we get into everything else?
No, we can go ahead and get that added later. So instead of going ahead and doing that now, we can just go through the interview and then I can add it in before the final production goes out.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be something that's ready at hand. In fact, this won't be going out for a couple weeks. So any time between now and then.
Okay.
If that is something you're willing to do.
I can do something like that, yeah. Does it have to be a whole chapter? Or like a section of one? Or what do we think of?
That's an excellent question. Normally I do a full chapter just because it's the first chapter, it's a sample one. But again, considering it's going off of a full series, I'm going to say that it probably doesn't have to be a full chapter. There's a lot of creativity and a lot of different ways to handle it. There's nothing really set in stone, no set in stone guidelines type of thing. So, okay, 1 sec. I need to do 2 sound checks real fast. One for my actual recording program and one to make sure this is actually getting recorded correctly. So 1 second, providing I don't screw myself up. Nope, cancel. That would definitely be screwing myself up. 1 sec. All right. If you just want to go ahead and say something, this is just to test my mic out.
Okay. Here I am saying something, testing out your mic. I hope it sounds good.
There we go. Go ahead and test that. All right, we're good to go on that one. There's no background noise. I really wish I could do this, without the, get it all this check set up beforehand, but unfortunately, I kind of need the feedback from I record this on my phone or I do the call on my phone and then record it on the computer. Once I did that, and I had a lot of background noise. So it was a little bit. I'm trying to avoid that again. I don't know how to grab this. All right, do another quick test, will you?
Sure. I'll just do another quick test, just making sure that your microphone is fine, and
there we go.
A sip of coffee once it's done.
All right. This is the first time I've been recording from 2 different sources, so kind of wary on that one. But sounds like we are good to go, at least on my end. I will go ahead and do a brief introduction with the information that I have, and then I'll go ahead and let you kind of explain more, introduce yourself more. I'll tell them, all right, now we're going into the chapter. We just take a brief pause so I can go ahead and clip that chapter in later, and then we'll go on to the questions and talk about your series, if that sounds good to you.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good to me.
All right, let me get this set up and stop using that mouse because that is way too loud. All right, everybody, welcome back to Behind the Pen, and this is the 14th series. So, 14th series, that'd be impressive. No, this is the 14th episode of this, and I gotta tell you, this is quite interesting. We've got 2 firsts today. One of them is this is the first time this is actually being recorded more than just, on the audio. As you guys can tell, I'm up to par with how well I can talk. But no, we're actually recording this as well, which is kind of exciting. Which is, you hear the clicking in the background, is because I was an idiot and forgot to go ahead and get this all set up. And we have, in fact, not a book that we're looking at today, but we're looking at a full series. And the author of it is none other than Matt Waterhouse. If you guys haven't heard of him, you probably should have. He's written 6 books in this series called Kodiak, which is set in the universe of the Interstellar Holy War. If you don't know what that is, read the books. These novellas follow the Kodiak, which is a gunship on the front lines of the conflict. So, Matt Waterhouse, if you would like to introduce yourself, sir.
Well, hello there. Yes, I'm Matt Waterhouse. I've written a whole bunch of things, about maybe 13 or 14 books, and that we're focusing in on 6 of them, which are the novella series Kodiak, Sci-Fi, kind of military, swashbuckling kind of space opera type thing. And been doing this for a while. I'm currently in Central Asia, which is why scheduling this was a minor nightmare.
Oh yeah, that was not the funnest. Guys, I screwed up not only the time, but the day as well. Like, this was supposed to come around yesterday for him. That's how badly I messed up on it.
Well, we arranged this. I was checking, because your message came up on X at something like 10 p.m. last night. And I thought, oh, what have I arranged, and when did I arrange this? And I checked, and we arranged it in November.
Yeah, it was a little bit ago. Little bit.
Yeah, but luckily, I scrolled back through and checked what times we could do. I'm like, okay, I can do that. It's not going to be at like 5 a.m. So
yeah,
that's going to be okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
It It won't upset my wife too much, and it won't upset the cat. So.
Oh, the cat's the important part there. If my wife hears me, she's gonna kick my ass. But a full confession, do you have any idea how few times I actually will go? Like, I will get these arranged. I got most of these interviews arranged back about the same time I arranged it with you. So I have a document on my phone where it's actually scheduled. I do not go get in contact with because I am scatterbrained as hell. I will not go get in contact with the authors again until like the week before of at best. So no, unfortunately that's not too new of an occurrence. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But
the stars align, so that's fine.
Thankfully, where there's a will, there's a way, and we had a lot of will, guys. We got this thrown together. Thank you, Matt, for having patience with this. I mean, seriously, you gotta have a lot of patience on these scheduling errors here.
Well, especially, I think I've learned it, especially from trying to like schedule things with people who are in America or in your part of the world. I mean, even in Europe, it can be a bit of a pain. I did the last one sort of interview show thing I did was with J.A. Brindon, who's in Australia, he's in Western Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, that was another morning record, I think. And that was a tricky one to set up. But every time I talk with somebody in America, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things you don't really think of a time zone outside yours, or you're thinking maybe a couple hours ahead, behind. When it's a full day's different, or full half a day's different, just flipping the day on his head, it is a struggle I did not expect.
Right, yeah.
But guys, without further ado, we know what is happening at the beginning of this. It's a chapter. Only it's not going to be a full first chapter. It is in fact going to be a snippet from this series, and this is going to be the point you guys are going to want to listen in, because we haven't chose the first one. We have chose the most exciting one. So sit back and enjoy a little bit of sci-fi action. And nice little pause there, little break for me. Well, for you guys, it's been a little bit of time, but for us, it's been a couple seconds, really. I like to think that I am quite the time traveler. What about you, Matt? Time traveling much?
With all these time zone switches, I feel like it sometimes, yes.
On the show, technically, I think.
Right, yeah. Am I in your future?
You are in my future. I'm talking to the future, but in the past. Oh, wow, I need to go to bed. Anyways, how long have you been writing? I noticed that you wrote the first novella back in 2018, 2019, somewhere in there.
It's somewhere around there, yeah. I mean, I've been writing books since about since about maybe 2015, I think.
Mm-hmm.
About 2015. Like, my first one took on a bunch of different forms. And then that was a fantasy book that took on a couple of different forms. It was a script. It was a series of scripts. And then I thought about a comic. And now it is, and then it became a book because I realized I had no artistic talent in terms of drawing. So it would have been stick figures and exceptional dialogue. But Kodiak itself, started about 2019, maybe. Yeah, I'll take your word that it's 2018 or 2019. I think that's about right. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah.
And that idea had been kind of banding around and zipping about. It's sort of Kodiak sort of branched off of another book called Red Saints, which is the kind of inception of the interstellar holy war. And you don't need to read Red Saints in order to enjoy Kodiak.
Kind of a standalone?
There is maybe, if you wanted a bit more context, I mean, that's a very different type of book, Red Saints, than Kodiak. But the plan with Kodiak was I wanted it to be basically a series of novellas. I wanted it to be, like, I had the price point in my head, as like, I want him to be like, a paperback can be £5 or like $5 or something like that. So you can grab a paperback off Amazon, read it, and then grab the next one if you want. Right, so just a $5 a pop, and then I think the ebook is something like $1 or $2. So that gave me sort of a limit in terms of pages, and a limit in terms of chapters. And I'm weird in that I quite like having a limit and having a structure, because it gives me kind of more, I don't know, it makes me more concise, and it makes me more kind of clear. And I like having a boundary within which to kind of zip about in.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because if it's too open for me, sometimes I tend to just kind of spiral off. But when I had these sort of set walls, it has to be about this long. It really kind of made the kind of types of stories I could tell a bit clearer in my head, and how much kind of character work and sort of the pace of them could be done a bit more effectively, I thought. But yeah, there's 6 so far. 7th is on its penultimate chapter at the moment.
Ooh. So that's close to coming on out then.
Well, so yeah, I mean, well, we'll see. It's going to be
fair enough.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if I can get it done, then I can start redrafting it. Maybe sometime in May, or I don't even want to put a time on it, but maybe like sometime in May or June, maybe it could go out.
Well, as far as
if it doesn't require,
as far as writing schedules go and like book releases, that is pretty imminent. Like, you've got people writing books that are like, yeah, it'll be done in roughly a year and a half. Soon. It's like that's not soon. It's not soon at all.
Right.
So
yeah, it seems like I have a high pace. I don't know if I do have a high pace. Like, when I'm writing, I tend to write quite slowly. I just do it consistently.
No, that is
as consistently as I can.
You got a set schedule there. It's working for you. I'd say keep going with that. There's a. I think I broke a record. My best record for getting single words down in a day was 10,000 words. However, that was also amidst a couple weeks of not writing. So slow and steady definitely beats it out in this case. So if that works for you, then just goes to show you guys there's really no single way to write. And if you only get, a little bit done per day, you're still getting stuff done per day. Like, this is very important. You are going to get it done. Rather than being, because what long has that one dude been working on his last book? George Martin.
That book was never coming out.
I think I poke fun at him every single episode, but oh well. Why don't you go ahead and?
I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
I feel like he finished it. I feel like the series started before he even finished that book.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a decade or more.
Yeah, it's
well more than a decade.
Yeah, it's he's been working on that single book longer than I've been writing, like, so people can see it.
Right.
So, geez. No wonder I poke fun at him every episode. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Kodiak series? Like, and throw some meat on the bones there.
Sure. Alrighty. So, yeah, the series is centered around the titular starship, which is the EDSV Kodiak 274 Delta, which is an old gunship. It is kind of a 4-deck. Oh, excuse me, frog in my throat.
You're good.
It's like a 4-deck, aged, robust little ship that flies around in a squadron of 3 other ones. There's 4 in the squadron, and it centers around Orson Grant, who was the second officer, is now the commanding officer of the Kodiak, and he got the ship through some tragic means. There were there was a battle and he ended up in the center chair. And it's following, like, the first 6 really, well, all of them so far, are following him in command and his kind of officers and crew. And they essentially have a mission, a book. Sometimes it's very action heavy, where they're doing ground ops. Sometimes it's kind of more horror based, where there's a mystery on an ice station somewhere, and they're having to investigate what's going on and where everybody is. And it leans a little bit more into sci-fi in the 5th book, where, I mean, it's sci-fi already, but like more into kind of hard sci-fi, where there's a mysterious kind of object in space, and it latches onto the ship, and it starts affecting the crew, and they have to work out what it is and why it's latched onto them, and what they need to do to get it off the ship before it messes everybody up kind of irreparably. It's that kind of thing. It's if it sounds like Star Trek, it's because it is very much Star Trek. It's in that vein.
That's actually exactly what I was thinking of. I watched the original series growing up and listened to this one. Like, it just kind of sounds like Star Trek again, like the original series. And when I say that, guys, I don't mean original series as in black. I love the original series. So this is kind of like you read these books, there's going to be almost something for everyone. You know, depending on your interests, well, there's going to be a book for you.
In a sense, yeah, I suppose. I mean, if you're a fan of Star Trek or that kind of type of show, or if you're a fan of kind of space opera in general, you'll probably enjoy it. Like it has its it's very kind of it has a good character focus. Like you'll have maybe 1 or 2 of them as kind of the focal point, and you get to know them a bit, and you have this sort of adventure, and you have some where it's more of an ensemble, where all of the kind of officers are involved somehow, and it's essentially putting them in a situation and how do they get out of it. I think that's probably what I like. One of the things about Star Trek that I've grown to like a lot is you have a difficult situation that keeps piling on, and it's how the characters kind of work together to get out of that situation. And it's one of the things that really has, like when I was a kid, Star Trek appealed to me because of cool spaceships and phasers and stuff. And as I've gotten older, it appeals to me more as, okay, there's a problem, they're solving the problem. And like they're saying stuff maybe as they're exploring a sort of complicated issue in a nuanced way, which they don't do so much now in the modern shows, but they did back when Star Trek was good.
Yeah, fair enough. No, it's that's actually really awesome to hear. I think we've gotten to with some of the sci-fi books and shows out there. It's too much about the effect, the wow factor. You know, especially on shows, you're talking about some more graphics. With the original series, you didn't exactly have a lot of graphics. You had to have a good story that really pulled the audience in. And so, kind of recapturing that.
What's the story that makes it timeless?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna. 1 sec. I'm gonna go ahead and save this real fast. Don't mind me. Just saving to the cart. Anyways, going back to that. So, for people who don't know, and I'm me, I'm people who don't know, what's a space opera? How's that different from just normal sci-fi?
Well, for me, I mean, definitionally, I could be completely wrong here, but I know what it means to me, which is it's sort of the kind of high adventure in space. Less so of like the hard sci-fi. I don't think I'm leaning too much into hard sci-fi, although there are elements of that. I try to make it as scientifically accurate as possible, within the boundaries of kind of acceptable excitement. But for me, like a space opera is very much kind of like high adventure. So there's the high adventure element in there.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I was slightly confused. I mean, it didn't stop me from enjoying it, but I was slightly confused. So
Yeah, I'm now slightly confused, and I want to make sure I got that right.
nothing like someone asking
there you
you
go.
about your like the thing that you know the most about to make you think, oh wait, I don't know anything. Like just to kind of
Oh,
throw you for
okay.
a loop.
It's like okay. So it's like all right. So it's saying a novel, film, or television program set in outer space, typically of a simplistic and melodramatic nature. Okay. Is it a simplistic or melodramatic nature? I don't know.
So less of
I
would
wouldn't
get
say it's simplistic.
yeah.
But there you go.
That's not such a bad thing. I mean, look at some of the shows nowadays. It's no, I think that if it follows kind of the same vein as the original Star Trek series, where there's action, there's character growth, it's got that there's a drama element, and yeah, I think that it would go ahead and qualify as that. I thought, I kid you not, when I first heard space opera, I thought it was singing in space. I thought it was like a space musical. That's what crossed my mind.
Yeah. It can. It's unfortunately worded, isn't it? Yeah. Or like a soap opera in space.
Yes. Okay.
Or something like that.
Gotcha. So that definitely clarifies. When you
I
first,
suppose like if it's there's a problem and then it's solved by the end of the episode / by the end of the book. Yeah, I suppose that would.
Yeah, rather than continuing on and just a giant overarching thing, like giant multiple episode storyline. I mean, a couple of them did go into like parts 1s and 2s, but those were really rare. You didn't have to go, okay,
right.
What happens next? What happens next? They'll tell you. And I think that is very much underrated nowadays. Like, you have all the shows and the books that are just continuing storylines that never end, and there has to be a conclusion for someone to be satisfied. And if there's not a conclusion, they eventually are going to get bored or annoyed, or maybe both, and just walk away.
Right.
So when you
I mean, there's a limit to how far you can push something and keep it consistently good.
Mm-hmm. So when you started writing this series, were you intending to go self-publishing, or were you trying to do traditional?
I think by the time that Kodiak was in progress, I was already in the self-publishing sphere, and I just was like, this is where it's going to come out. It's going to come out off my own back rather than through a publisher.
And is that one that you really prefer, or do you ever wish that you could have gone traditional?
I think the more I learn about kind of traditional publishing, the more I think to myself that it's not significantly better unless you are a massive name.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, it doesn't really pay the bills unless you are a Stephen King or like a Dean Koontz or someone like that. Someone who has a high knowability already. Because I feel like TradPub, the thing about TradPub now, I think it's going the way of the dodo a bit. I think it's on its way.
With any luck.
Like, the interest in that type of thing is getting very, very, it's just shrinking. And I think part of the reason is that they gatekeep it too much, and they're gatekeeping out certain people rather than certain stories. And I think when you do that, you sort of show your cards a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think that especially in the last little period of time, there's been. I'm not going to name names, guys, because I don't want that to become a writing drama episode. But there's been a couple well-known traditional publishing houses that are basically turning away authors based on who they are and trying to, rather than their actual stories. And more than that, even if that is only a single case, that's absolutely a fair point, because what traditional publishing typically does is they go, okay, these types of books have sold. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get more of these types of books. And if a book comes on that's outside the lines, we're going to tell the authors that you need to get inside the lines or we're not doing your book. So, yeah, it's going to earn money for a little bit, 10, 20 years, somewhere in there. But people are finally going to go, there's nothing new anymore. It's just the same story, reskinned. Why are we bothering with it? So, yeah, I do hope at least it's going the way of the dodo bird, because I'm not saying independent books are better by themselves, like just be for the merit of them being independent or self-published, but you're going to find a lot more creativity. You're going to find ideas that aren't just repeated over and over. You're going to find just one of the interviews I did, the guy had bears in space they had thick Russian accents and they absolutely loved alcohol. They were literally Russian bears in space. And that's one of the parts he says that his readers enjoyed the most. It was a gimmick he was never planning on keeping around, but they loved it so much that he went, oh, okay, I guess this is a standard part of the book now. And tell me a traditional book you're going to find that in.
Right. I mean, well, very few. And it's like it's like the types of author that get kind of non-personed by traditional publishing is growing, and also the type of story that they are willing to engage with is getting more and more limited. And yeah, and I think people look at indie and think of the quality. Think the quality is going to be lower, that we will typos and things like that, and certainly I am guilty of a typo or two I just miss, right? But when you look at a traditionally published book, there are typos in them.
Yeah,
there are loads of typos in them. It's like you've got the resources.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Growing up, one of the ways my mom encouraged my sister and I to read was she would actually pay us $0.25 for every typo we found in the book. And these were the traditionally published books. And she eventually had to stop doing that because we were breaking the bank. Hold up. Technical error here, or... you still there, Matt? I heard a little something, but not really hearing any words from your side. Still nothing. I'm going to go ahead and hang up and give you a quick call back, and hopefully that'll fix the issue. Technical errors, guys. Nothing but technical errors. Okay, you're going to have to pull out of it, Matt. Matt, pull out. Thank you. That's a very terrible thing to say, but okay. Let's try this again. You there? Try again. I'm really not getting anything from you. I'm seeing the screen light up, but no actual words are coming through. I'm trying to figure out if that's my end or not. Okay. Oh, shit. There's a soundboard. That's kind of neat. But that doesn't really help. One second, guys. Technical difficulties. Okay, I'm just popping whenever you talk. Matt, if you can hear me, I'm going to go ahead and close out Discord and then try to go back into it. Okay. Hey guys, technical issues. Always technical issues. The good news is we're through most of the interview, but still had a couple questions, and then the fun question of the day. So I mean, let's try this again. Did that work? Ooh, okay. I'm getting something. I'm getting something from you. I lost something. I got like a sentence through, and then that was about it. Yep, still nothing. I'm seeing your screen light up. I'm just not actually hearing anything from you. I mean, the silver lining here is that I actually have like kind of slightly disappointed because the question of the day or the fun question didn't get asked, but I mean, we were at least through the information on the series and everything on that. But uh about yeah, I'm still getting nothing from you. The the only real two options that I would have is I can either ask you like the last question of the day and then you can just type out your response and I'll tell it for the interview, or I can just tell people we had to have technical difficulties and how to end it and put in the information where to find you, your X handle, your Amazon. It's kind of up to you which route you want to go. You're probably going to have to type out your answer because still hearing nothing. Unless you're just hearing popping from me. Oh, hey, typing. Yay. You know, it would not be a behind the pen if there was not some type of technical issue or multiple technical issues thinking on it. I'm going to try restarting. We'll do one more time. All right, my live stream audience of all you 0 people. You know, this would be a great idea to go ahead and get this set as paid members on Patreon, which is $1 a month, have access to this, and I just unlist it for just have it unlisted. So only really the followers on here or Patreon would be able to access it. I might go ahead and I might do that. Only problem is I will continue getting 0 viewers because, let's face it, this is not exactly a well-known series. I don't want to go ahead and put it in later because if I put it in later, then people are going to be like, "Hey, you did not have this. Now we have to pay for something we've had free access to," because that ticks me off. It's falling out of our house. He is restarting. I am waiting. I'm smoking. I'm finished. This would be easier to do as far as live streams if I had a set schedule. But if you have know my life at all, I don't have a set. I'm used to looking up here because that's normally the webcam. If you know my life at all, I don't have a set schedule. I can only pray that this gets blown up because I say something ridiculously funny, which it's me, so probably not going to say anything ridiculously funny. I don't have access to this feature. I don't have access to this feature. Because it's a feature that you choose before you go on the live stream. It's not bad for considering this is the first day I've done the live stream. And I would like to point out, guys, this was not my end. Like this technical issue was not my end. And I'm more understanding how some actual podcasts go on for, a couple hours. Do live on X. I don't think I want to mess with that. I'm just going to keep going. 7 people have seen it. How many people can get? Ooh, 5 impressions. 7 views, 5 impressions. Yay, what the hell is that? Don't look at me. It is not my fault that the interviewing author kind of dropped off. Although I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot better than the South African podcast. It was fun when I was on there. Like, I should probably explain for anyone who doesn't know, and I guess just to fill in the time too. I was actually on a Zimbabwe radio show. Interviews like I was on there like 4 times. Ooh, Authormat's typing. But the last episode, I didn't actually go on. They had so many technical issues that I was staying up till like midnight my time and nothing. I really had nothing. So I just literally sat there for an hour. And that's when issues probably on my end. One sec, guys. No worries. His restart's taking a while. You guys just watch me type for about an hour. Is that really how I look on camera? Oh, wow. Well, we better bank on me getting a popular author on here because my funniness is not going to cut it and my looks are not going to cut it. Nope. I need the well-known name on here because this is not going to blow up otherwise. I am not going to ask J.R. Martin because, he's a good sci-fi writer. He is not a good fantasy writer. He's not a fantasy writer either. Where I was like, right, Zimbabwe radio show. I know this is kind of like not on topic at all, but I got to fill in something while waiting for either his restart to happen or him to text me back the answers. I actually like that because I can actually see it on the screen. So, all right, Zimbabwe radio show. And it was real talk. It's like 102 FM or something like that. Real Talk Zimbabwe, which is kind of interesting. Half of it was in English, half of it was some language I didn't understand. Music was kind of interesting. I went on there because of my short story, The Frozen Ship, which was actually a pretty damn good suspense story, if I do say so myself. It's kind of ironic that I don't really write suspense and horror a lot because I'm really good at it. It doesn't hold my interest. But the first one was, I got in there like 15, 20 minutes late, and I wasn't sure whether or not it was a scam. So I had no idea what I was doing. Turned out it was like correct, which is awesome. But the lady's like, and this was in the middle of winter. All right. No, it was wintertime because it was friggin' cold. So, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll go on, talked a little bit about it. Didn't really get quite done. Kind of got caught off by the next radio segment. Next one, first one was technical issues on my end. Somewhat. Okay, like 80% was on my end. And the next one, it was definitely on their end. I went on for another one of my freaking short stories, and yeah, issues were on their end. Got started like a half hour late. Next one was about the same, although there was some flooding over there, so I really can't say much on it. Fourth one, I think I only made it to episode 4, which disappointed me because it's like, hey, I'm being able to go. I got invited on a radio show. I'm able to call in and talk about it. And there was like a dramatized reading, so you have the actual sounds going on. And it was quite interesting. But it was just, and I know I want to talk about technical issues, right? But and I was able to like get on because they used Google Meets. I was able to get on there and just kind of watch for some of the time before they got on, and I'm guilty of missing my own stuff. But when I'm doing these are recorded. Like the lives don't typically. This is the first time I've done a live one of these, and just missing out, basically wasting an hour staying up because I work the next morning. I usually am trying to get to bed by 10 or 11. So doing the interview at 11 and spending at least a couple hours past when I normally get to bed. Let me switch my phone. It was disappointing. And I'm like, you know what? I can't spend my time keep doing this. I'm dragging to work the next day. So it's kind of disappointing. It's the first time I've actually got on a radio show, so it's actually like my books being talked about, my stories, as the short stories. And the disappointing part was I wasn't getting anything out of it. Like, there were no new views to my page. No one was looking at my books. No one was reading my books. No one was looking at my short stories. Oh, there we go. Complaining time done. All right. Can you hear me?
I can, yes. Does this sound significantly worse, or is it okay?
I'm getting a little bit of echo, but for our purposes, it's definitely good enough. We just have a little bit to finish up here. All right.
All right, brilliant.
And we are back, guys. And I'm just going to turn that down in preparation. So we actually just had another technical issue of sound completely dropping off. So that is why you're going to notice a little bit of a sound change up. But it's okay, because we're back. All right. Now, I have no idea where we left off at. People might go, hey, go back 30 seconds. I can't. I'll tell you, I can't. It's recording. It's going on.
I think we were talking about traditional publishing and stuff.
Right. The going the way of the dodo bird. So
yeah.
For someone who's either starting out writing for the first time or someone who's looking to publish for the first time, do you have any particular pieces of advice for them?
So I think the first thing I would say is that it's a marathon, not a sprint. You may end up sort of following people. You may end up following authors who say, "Oh, I wrote today. I wrote 3,000 words today," and you might feel like, "Oh, well, I didn't. I wrote like 300 words today." So that's fine. That's fine. Right? You have your pace. Write at your own pace. And yeah, I mean, 300 good words is better than like 20 times that number, and you have to trash half of it because it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing. Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint. If traditional public, like, so if you really think about if getting an agent or something like that is going to be right for you, and trying for the traditional is going to be right for you, and depending on the type of story you're writing and unfortunately who you are, the chances are that self-publishing might actually be more viable and more beneficial for you. And on that, you probably need to redraft, have other pairs of eyes looking at your work, not just yours. And if I would not recommend, so something I wouldn't recommend is something that I did. Probably start off with a standalone, maybe even a novella, just to really kind of hone your craft at that length of story, and then from there jump into the series and things like that if that's what you want to do. And make plenty of friends, because there's loads of independent authors out there and authors in general who are all pretty cool people. Ignore the drama. There is sometimes drama, but you can ignore it pretty easily. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's actually a very good point there is you can connect to the other authors who have been doing this for a little bit, and they are pretty good at giving advice. And yeah, they're like Matt said, there's definitely drama that pops up, but if you just ignore that and do your own thing, just ignore the conversations that fly back and forth, because surprise, surprise, authors are humans and they are occasionally strongly opinionated. I know it's a shocker for everyone out there, but no, very, very excellent piece of advice. Now, on this series, what we've taken to doing is the last question is a fun one. It switches up every interview. This question, this fun question of the episode, is a lot of writers are going to have movies or books that are kind of in our niche that we enjoy, even though we're like, okay, it's got some glaring errors here. Like, this is a not realistic battle scene, or that's not what they like, historical ones, especially. What is it? Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. Was Tom Cruise? It was a very good movie. It's one of my guilty pleasures, even though I go, hey, that's not really what happened. The reasons for the Samurai's rebellion. People haven't watched the movie; they have no idea what I'm talking about. But continuing on, is there a particular sci-fi movie or book that's like that, where you're going, this has some, this could not happen, but I'm going to enjoy it anyways?
I mean, yeah, with a lot of sci-fi, you kind of need to swallow a bit of a pill to suspend your disbelief. I mean, I have to do that in Star Trek all the time. Mm-hmm. I think if there's one sci-fi movie that is more guilty of that than others, it may well be like the big ones. Probably, I mean, possibly like a Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Even, I mean, that might be a controversial opinion.
Well,
but I look at like space combat in that, particularly after like researching it and stuff for Codex. I mean, my space battles are not realistic at all, but I look at the Star Wars ones and I'm like, oh, okay, you think these are just these are boats and planes, and they are not. However, they're also incredibly exciting and fun to watch, so I just do not care.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And yeah, that's actually a really good point. Some of the space battles are definitely break the laws of physics, or held back by the technology of the time, but they are fun to watch. All right, well, you're getting your day started. My day is kind of coming to an end. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you again, Matt, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And guys, you can go ahead and find his books. They're on Amazon. Just look up Kodiak, Kodiak, just like a Kodiak camera, by Matt Waterhouse. And it's sounds, so don't go think there's any crazy modern take on the name there. Novellas are on there. His books are on there. Go check them out. They're definitely reasonably priced. A lot better than what you might find walking into a bookstore when you're trying to find a paperback. Nothing's less than, $25. It's a lot better than that. And you can go ahead and find them on Twitter or X, whichever you call it. I think I call it both, depending on what day it is. But it is at Waterhouse Books, or you can just look up his name, Matt Waterhouse. And you go ahead and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, sir.
Thank you. You too. Well, have a good sleep.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to have a great rest of the day. It's going to be unconscious, but it'll be a great rest of the day. And remember, everybody, it's always shit until you edit it. And that is a wrap. A long wrap, but a wrap nonetheless. Oh. Well, technical issues abounded, but it is done. This will be up here in a couple weeks. I will get you the link to everywhere I've got it when it's done. I'll also tag you on Twitter or X when it goes ahead and gets done.
Awesome. I'm going to need to work out what the heck is going on with my computer. So that's going to be some of the rest of my day.
Well, I don't envy you. I hate technology. So, there.
Yep.
Mostly because it never works for me. That's the only reason I hate it. But, yeah, so...
Yeah, it's it fails. Yeah.
All right, well then, I'm going to let you go do that. I'm going to go see what my pillow is doing. All right. Hey, that's a quote if I ever heard one. I might steal that for one of my books. Pillows never fail. You take care. Thanks again for coming on and having patience with us.
No problem, man. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. Jeez. The live stream ran an hour. Like, the actual episodes, there was only about a half hour of talking in there. I am wrapped up in every chord known to man. We'll go ahead and see exactly how well received this is. I am cold. I'm going to get a fire going again.